Sanje chudong sanje chudong la janju bari dani japsi chi dani chudong yure sonani rola pinche sanje rongla shu sanje chudong sanje chudong la janju bari dani japsi chi dani chudong yure sonani rola pinche sanje rongla shu Good evening, everyone. I'm Margaret, Rika, Helen, Deborah, Susan, Andrew,
Good evening, Geshe.
everyone.
Cao Chen Chen.
Good evening again. Okay. I think everyone, those people know about Buddhism. How long you study Buddhism?
Just for the past 2 weeks.
Well, just start. Have you studied before any religions?
Well,
Did you study any religions before?
no, I was born into Catholic, but I didn't really study it.
This is how, nature. Are you okay? He's not coming. Are you okay? You okay, Kash? Okay, Kash. You mood? You mood? We don't hear you. Tamji tanda moodish. Maybe he doesn't have a. Tanda mundu chana ke mundu.
Hello.
Oh, Kalidu. Are you
How
okay?
good?
Oh, they also
Yeah, yeah, yeah. nga da benze lodi yune hor domi nukun josu.
Mengan Roy.
Ah,
Mengan Roy. Mengan Roy. Mengan.
menga domeda. Anda.
Oh.
Dame da chusa udena tungde. 탕자당 organic the lomen de sade da kansh pengime do.
Chana chik joyo tate chik mengan ko joyo. Okay, anyway. Hopefully you will get better. Yeah, anyway. As we all of them there are a lot of different religions, right? For the religions to feel for the who follow that religion, feel for the wishes. A lot of the common things, common bed, similar things. As Buddhism is one of the religion, usually we believe human beings, animals, they all have soul, life. Life.
Buddhism?
Yeah, Buddhism believe. We believe. You don't have soul, right?
No, like
How we say?
say consciousness among sentient beings.
They're sentient beings.
Yeah.
That's how we.
You say they have a mind.
Mind, yeah.
I know what you mean by soul.
Yeah. Who has mind? We believe they have the feeling. Then we believe that is beings, living beings. And some people also doesn't believe that ants, small bugs, they don't believe that they're animal. But as Buddhism, we believe that. Then we're all looking for, doesn't matter what kind of living beings. Running, looking to feel for our keep our healthy body, healthy mind, healthy life. Is it? Therefore, like physical things to we have like clothes, hospitals, and house, things also to fulfill all wishes as much as other things. But mentally, we believe mentally is something else. We believe that it's not able to do that. But also physical problem and the mental problems. Mental is more strong and more powerful. Therefore, Buddhism is the more tool to fix our mental. It not means your mental problem. Here, your mental problem, you're a crazy person, right? We don't talk about that. According to Buddhism, we are the very mental problem. We always connect with the other religions. But we don't know those things bad, but we follow that. Therefore, in reality, we are the mental problem, but we don't say we are mental problem. That means very bad, right? Therefore, the religion Buddhism is something to fix or something to change our mental issues. Therefore, it not means you have some problem mentally, but we all have follow our delusions. Delusions means love. As Buddhism is attachment, anger, jealous, hatred, those we call delusions. Those things also they're not nature of our mind. It's like a cloud. When clouds come in the sky, they're also blue color, right? The blue is the cloud is not nature of the sky. The wind comes or something, they go away. It's like that. But our mind, the nature of the mind is not delusion, is it?
It's clear and knowing.
Clear knowing. But the delusions cover that. Therefore, what we need, clean up the delusions. Oh no. Abandon for the more positive mind, like those things. Okay? And Buddhism is not you just study a couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years, you get the result. It's not. Why? Because we're not able to really deal that. We're not able to see that really what's caused our problems. Therefore, it takes time. Maybe eons. It's not just years, eons. Right? Therefore, Buddhism talk about that. And also, Buddhism is living beings. All the living beings, they're taking care of their life. That's life. There are some of the birds, the nest, the porch. They are still, but almost 1 month, they keep the babies there. The father or mother, they can do return. Couple hours mother, couple hours father, couple hours father. Very nice. I thought only the mother can stay there. They return there. Anyway, they will also take care of their babies. They will try to save their babies, same as all the beings. The human beings have the more intelligence. Like right now we say with science, very surprised. Science, why science? Science not come from that. Science people build, right? We build that. Our human intelligence, right now we use only maybe 5%. Maybe not 5%. Then 95% we're not able to use our intelligence. Until we enlighten, we're not able to use 100%. Therefore, Buddhism is one of the way to how to not only taking care of this life, we believe the future life, next life. Therefore, taking care. If you're getting better and better, like you are a good boy or good girl today, then tomorrow better, or this year good study, then next year study, getting better and better. We believe like that way. Is it? Okay, we go to a little bit meditation, okay? We'll go to meditation. meditation, I think whatever you love to the grace, that who's new, you can just force you watch your breath. Breathe in and out, in and out. Your mind follow that. I'm breathing out, breathing in. And other people can study meditation, some that image or devotion or impermanent or emptiness. Okay? But you don't have what means emptiness, I don't know, just watch your breath. In and out. Okay? That maybe 5-10 minutes. Okay? Not too long. Okay. Okay, we have the text. If you don't have text, it's okay. We just go text and I can just talk, okay? Yeah. You go there. You go there. Yeah.
Dudu kodu.
아까선 딩해라 해서 근데 다와진 좋았던 게 그냥 다나가도 밀리타 치무지 톱대요. 그래서 시작한 거지.
So before this, we were talking about the 8 leisures and 10 endowments, that the human rebirth that we have with all these favorable condition, is very fortunate.
제가 다 담당 공급변화 제가 또 내가 또 세네 술 내가 들어와 있나 다 수수 되는 것도 우리 좀 되어 와서 근데 내가 내가 양보 제거를 와.
So for example, if you are looking for a job that you like and then you find it, right? And so when you have found it, you have to do the job well, right? You have to do the job properly.
Or other example, been a lapra, Yapojale, to apply Chinese, so Tsubayana, Tsubas into Marwa, and it take Vichel Tangoa.
Another example would be like getting admitted to a good school. So just getting admitted is not good enough, right? You have to study well.
Or the pet television, that don't know to meet you, yes. Me, Nana, Yam, and Nabechu Shavana, Tami Mandawa, the
So similar to that, now we are born as human beings, and even among the human beings, who have even special human life.
Originally, 단 농촌의 시와치와 이나다. 제 개와시모 펜체의 변하기 삼모 다시게 된这个 다 진짜게 룩소지던 차대 그래서.
And so why it is special, is because of these favorable conditions, one will be able to think, not just for this life, but far into future rebirths.
대 가르치는 미들나 깨는 마셔 받아야 아니 소소 소야게 탑시 체등이 샤 시വും 보 조마 어디 섬제 참아들 집어야 말해.
And so usually, generally, so, all sentient beings are similar in wanting to be happy and not wanting any suffering. And for that, so from the early morning, they wake up, till they go to sleep, they all like, go and do the things, to bring that happiness and to avoid, that suffering.
대노지 다 깨는 마셔 받아 대상 답을 내가 책이 그랬어.
So that's like not only in the day, but the whole life, from the time they were born till they die, they do that, to do something, to bring happiness and to eliminate the suffering.
다 대담을야 시바이는 섬제 참아 집어서 진소리.
So that is done by all the sentient beings and all the beings in the world, who have a consciousness, right? So they're all same in doing that.
당한도 미 티나네 단당한도 미 미사원다 제와 내다 주문다 제와 심한데 심하다 미 아버지까지 강에도 만탱이 시고도 아버지 거고도 혹시 내서 다시 제대로.
And so what is special about our rebirth, is that we are born with these favorable conditions to be able to think not only about this life, but many future lives, like next life, the next life, and so forth.
그래 든지마다 다 든지기 고유주던 것도 체유래서 제가 나오겠죠. 든지 고유주던 체유래서.
And so we have met with this kind of condition, favorable conditions.
다 되는 체되나 다된 체와 레다야 대가도 배제야 맞다나 해도 말해서.
So though we have these favorable conditions, but if we don't make good use of them, then it's no useful.
아니 뒤에 다 이제 다 줄록 대대기 배나 시우대 당한도니 메테기다 지바로 다 돈도 그래서.
So if we just think about this life and just work, for this life, then our life will be spent in the same way as the bird outside there.
대야 다다 쇼진에 다당한도 요사데 된대기야 선모 자치고 따져라 되는 고유지를 제여다 연바나야 대나라야 아니 딱 강에 먹고 그래서 강에도 돈을 제맛 왔잖아 하지는 거 그래서.
And though we are born in that environment with all these favorable conditions, but also there are many problems in that life. Even though we have those favorable conditions, but we still have many difficulties, many problems, right? So again, some of we just spend all our time just trying to resolve those problems.
다 대간이었나 다 쇼로가 두절 행아티기 싫을 따당한도에서 다 고아라 그래서 고아.
And so then here it talks about this, in the verse 65. So how do we get rid of the whole suffering of the samsara, cycle existence?
다 고아를 빨리 탈고 그래서.
So we want to be free from the cycle existence, right?
난 고발에 타는 그릴렀나? 단단 암수 지금 내 요와요. 기고체 요와, 체 요와, 된지기 암수부터 수보, 네 수보도 제거, 내도 매워 제거를 했어. 대저 와야 저 라시 잡으려고 말다야.
So we want to be free from the cyclic existence. Right? So what is the cyclic existence that we want to be free from? So it is the all pervasive suffering, the contaminated aggregate, right, that we have, and because of which, then we, have to go through those suffering of birth, suffering of aging, suffering of sickness, suffering of death, and so forth, right? So we want to be free from those sufferings, so free from that body, the contaminated aggregate, the body, right? But doesn't mean that you have to commit suicide, to get rid of this body.
Right. 단데 가르는 내 제단 제단에 좋은데 뒤 제단 제단에 서 그래서.
And so what made us to have this aggregate, that contaminated aggregate, that is the basis for all this suffering, is there is a cause for that, So how do we get rid of that? Is by eliminating the cause, that brings about all this, the aggregate and the sufferings.
다도 제네까지 안 코라 마타가 제대고야 다 시동 코와서 다 님으로 하고 가게로 가려 그래서 다때 쇼로 가 주저래 같이 드는 마치 다 파리싱으로 주저래 같이 내셔도
So we have to think about the disadvantages, or the shortcomings, of the samsara. So what is the problem if we are in samsara? And so if we have this problem, so we want to, be free from that. Therefore, we have to think about those problems. So this is what it talks about in the verse 65 and a few of the following verses. So let's read the first. Let's first read the verse 65.
My Lord, to become disgusted with samsara, the source of so much suffering, pay heed to some of its faults, frustrated desires, death, sickness, aging, and so forth.
아니 내가 다 단다 알아서 요사게 내 네가 쬐도 중에 막 쉐기 전혀 아세 내려오서.
And so he's saying that I'm going to explain you the problems, of this life or the environment that we're in, and so please pay attention, to that.
Okay, now we can explain. Yeah, Harvard.
Explain
What it means.
Suffering is, it's being exposed to things that you don't want, being removed from things that you do want. There's the four types of suffering. There's the suffering, all pervasive suffering, the ability to experience suffering, and then there's the suffering of suffering,
Just counting or the reality.
It's the reality is all those sufferings, the four types of suffering. No?
What do you think?
Well, I think what Nagarjuna is recommending to the king, he's saying that in order to be to really develop disgust for samsara, you have to contemplate the 8 types of suffering.
Well, it's going back to the first noble truth, and that derives from because we have a desire. Everything's impermanent, so eventually we're going to lose.
Okay, let's go. 다 내내 가르쳐는 아니 네 값들 나오는 가오셔는 그랬나?
So this is this part is explained in which section of the Lamrim,
Okay, yeah, Zoom people who can answer that. This big question. Okay. Okay, Mark.
I can answer.
Yes, go ahead.
Which section of Lamrim?
Yeah.
It's 8 types of suffering in chapter 17, volume 1.
Oh, good. What talk about that?
They talk about 8 types of suffering. That
Because we have
verse
the
is
first scope, second scope, or first scope,
It's the medium.
Small scope,
small scope,
medium
small
scope,
medium
great scope.
great scope. Which part?
this one is medium.
Oh, it's good. It's good. About back.
I'm gonna go with medium, I guess.
That's good. That's good. 그래서는 도진의 쇼도 시당 시당 가가 시다 그나 밥자치 밥된 거です. 대대가 하고.
So there's all these different kind of texts, like the letter to a friend or Lamrim or whatever, whatever text it is. They all explain all these different kind of teachings, but they all fall into the same category, So that's what we have to understand.
그죠. 그러죠. 다 네가 제일 중요하다 가시나 제일 중요한 값을 개치 보면 좀 야구에 숨어있나 그냥 대로 뒀다고 그래. 또 애셔.
So in the small scope section, it talks about abandoning the 10 non-virtuous actions, right? So if you abandon the 10 non-virtuous actions, then you will have a good rebirth in the upper realms.
You can study 10 non-virtuous action, okay? You can look at what is 10 non-virtuous activities. Because this, if you abandon 10 non-virtuous activity, then you have good life again. But that what means? What is the 10 non-virtuous? Why they're bad? Not talk about Buddhism say that we need to understand reality. Is it true or not? It's a water's core. Because not we just say this is the nature of water core right like that. Okay. 다 가르드나 아니 제외 충을 값서 개체봉 어떤 좀 나죠. 근데 다 대는 거 저 대주고 말해서 아니 다 코알 타고 그래서 가라야 다 동아 제 동아 쭉 동아 숨송으로 와.
And so in the small scope, it says that you have to observe the morality of abandoning the 10 non-virtuous actions. If you do that, then you'll be born in the upper realm, in the happier realm. But even if you are born in the happy realm, but there are all these different kind of sufferings, right? So you want to be free from the entire suffering of the cyclic existence. So then it talks about more sufferings. So in general, the whole suffering of the samsara, which are explained, in the 8 sufferings, 6 sufferings, 3 sufferings, and so forth.
저 랍라 첨보지 저 그런 야본 저 랍라 첨보 저거다 처받으니 지금 말했어. 야 저한테라 아니 일단 그 챌린지 뭐보다 돈을 제고 그래서 와.
So you just like the example I gave you earlier about being admitted to a good or high standard school. Just being admitted to that school is not good enough. There are many challenges that you will face, and you have to be able to face that.
다들 든든 코와 제월라 다 탑실로 니오레스. 담바 지게 네트리 시면 돈이 아니 코와를 도다당 아나진 게 땡데로 주니가는 코와를 도다선 다고 그래서.
And so there are 2 ways, of rejecting or being free from the cyclic existence. One is, through the 4 noble truths, and the other one is through the 12 link of dependent originations.
그러나 코와를 투제 대야 되게 그래서.
So the 4 noble truth, is the one that serves as a cause to be born in the cyclic existence.
배 차셔와이나 또 5만 돈이 조시가 요와이나 배나 5만 돈이 조시가 요와이나.
So for example, let's say if you're going to get diarrhea by drinking milk.
가르쳐 그래.
What should you do then?
5만 원 돈 담샤고 그래.
So if you're going to get diarrhea by drinking milk, what should you do in order to not have diarrhea?
And that what?
Don't drink it.
Don't like that.
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
stop drinking, right? Stop drinking milk if that is going to cause you diarrhea.
Okay, now who knows we are into some sort of form the 4 number truths. 그래서 덴바시거니 야 덴바시 나는 코를 죽당 맞히셔야 돼요.
Jugdomdi. So yeah, how do we enter in cyclic existence and exit from cyclic existence through the 4 noble truths? How do we enter and exit from cyclic existence via 4 noble truth? And how do we enter and exit,
Into
the cycle
and
existence and via 12 link of dependent risings.
maybe 12, maybe to come, we say, okay, 4 number 2. How to enter, how to exit. Is it? Does it make sense?
I think so.
It makes sense? Aha, okay, explain.
Well, we enter by this desire, right? But if you go by the 12 links, we
No, I'm saying
by ignorance, by
4 number 2.
desire, rooted in the sense of I.
You enter through true origins and you exit through true cessations.
Allah. Wait a minute. Okay. Anyway, 다 당부배나 만도 아니 둥아스나 kanji come 문제 받을 둥아라 그래.
So first, we have to understand the suffering, right? What is suffering? So anything that you do not wish, is a suffering.
Okay. 당부 땡고 좀 그랬어. 고 나게 와다 먹었는데 좋아만이나 텔면 대신 말아.
So first, you have to identify the suffering. So just like if you don't, identify the headache, then you will not be able to apply medicine for that, right?
그래. 제가 당부 아니 저는 요사기 저는 기타 조회되다까지 동학을 하시 바다 하고 있지. 동학 시버시 있어야 말이야.
So first, you have to understand the suffering. Whatever you are in, the situation, the environment that you are in, is a suffering. So you have to understand that first.
다 오늘 들이 동학 생각도 야 춘주이 따져와나. 나도 대회에 도배 보다 치와 나서 다 잡을라 대화에서 봐봐 말이야.
So my Lord, it says in the verse 65, like my Lord. So that is addressing to the king as my Lord.
저는 그때는 너같으면 요 말이었어. 너같으면 요 말이었어.
So he says there's no satisfaction in the samsara.
저도 너같으면 요. 내 득득삼의 종소해.
Do you get that satisfaction with anything in your life? He says, okay, this is good enough now. You feel anything like that with any kind of things?
Maybe one things, but another things come in. Another things, oh, that's good enough, but another things, more. 다 빼셔도 뭐 빼차셔. 한테 더 빼자지냐셔나 더 견도에 도와야 되나. 빼차셔 해나. 매일 깡거티 다 담보체 모터 매게 되나 모터 주나리 성교레스. 대비가 놓다다.
So for example, so it will be like if we don't go through if we only go through the text, it will be more difficult to understand. So let's go through the examples. Like, for example, somebody wants to have a car, right?
담보 모터 연애 쪽이 모터 연애 쪽이었어.
And then if there's somebody who wishes to have a car, if he finds a car, then he's happy with that.
야 car left 그래 야 car 지 야지 그랬어.
And once he has that car, then he wants to have a better car.
야 대지금 야 대기 되었습니다. 야 car 야지는 야 심하게
And so even if it's a good car, he's not satisfied with that. He wants to have something different car.
right? 다 때야지 다는 야 되기도 봐 못하겠어 야 잘라 심바식 야 여문에 내가 또 제대로 받으면 야 내가 대래 야지 그랬어 야 되게
And same with the job also, right? So you are not satisfied with the job that you have, although it pays okay, but then you want to have a better or higher position job.
배전 미세게 지나서 나 등자치라 칼라 찌빠지 않죠 사기 오죠.
For example, do you guys eat same kind of food every day for a whole week?
Nobody that. Sometimes you say
Every single meal.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
Like Tuesday, we can say
I usually eat one time a day. Spinach and rice or something. Yeah.
Do you lazy, right?
Like, yeah, I just fixate. I like it. I like it so much. I just.
Anyway, like that.
Crazy.
제가 I'm not saying it's bad. This is like we are there. Okay. First, you understand. I'm not saying you guys bad. We are all same.
Mm.
Example: you guys wear the same clothes 1 week. Not right. Because
Funny.
It's amazing when you look at how many
Right.
clothes you have.
right? Why? Yeah, we say, oh, maybe some people think I'm not good prepared, I'm not doing well, or people doesn't like me, something. You have some, oh, tindig kajan do masamajika, you do it like man. I'm the senate, yours.
So we have that let's say discontentment, right? So not being satisfied with what we have. We always want to have something more or something different. So not saying that's bad, but we have that kind of, we are in that kind of nature, right?
제가 카드를 나도 쟤네 마셔봐라 소백에 소수 내가 대다다 말어 짠 쟤네 아니 아까 신도 그래 그래 개형 그래 나형 그래 신도 그래 해서
So till the day we die, we always keep on looking for something different, never satisfied with what we have, something more or something different. And in that process, we go through all these sufferings, of aging, sickness, and then eventually the suffering of death.
제가 어디에다 대회 보면 쳐왔다 나다 가서 정말 담아이 좋은데 코안데卷最 지금 달라 예배 네 예배시 시장 세번째 테네다다 네기 예배 전부터 내가 시행이 정말 예바 아스게 보시면 예쇼와스.
So these are the faults of the samsara, right? The faults of the samsara, like the suffering of the aging, sickness, death, and so forth. So this is the faults that I'm going to explain to you. Please pay attention or pay heed, to these faults.
배자신나 수술이야. 수술 객기 토리는 다 그때는 지금 잠을 못다. 수술 객기 토리는 지금 말고 장장을 도.
And also, like, for example, in our personal life, we have always something not satisfied, right? With that, satisfied or something missing all the time.
다 셔땅기 고유가 찾았다. 이거도 이마 딱봐 산지 누가 지냐 고도와.
And then also environmentally, like we always hear bad things happening, in the world, right? Always, whenever you turn on the news, it's always bad news.
어쨌든 이 장장지니까 이 딘디게 쫀장장 셔땅도 다른 밀리하고 도배된다. 톱사대 쫀장장 내로 차대요. 그래서 봐.
And so this is like the full of faults, in our life. And although we are born with a very good, life, the favorable conditions, but we have all these faults in our life.
Okay. Who knows the eight sorrows? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, what are they?
Yeah. What the eight?
Birth, aging, sickness, death, meeting with the unpleasant, being separated from the pleasant, the 5 aggregates, and
Last one.
not getting what you want.
Okay. She was one right.
I think he said not getting what you want twice.
No, it's
Yeah, that's
being separated from what you don't want, not getting what you do want, and yeah, so that's the frustrated desire, yeah, and then getting what you don't want, right?
Okay. Now give example. I think we know that birth, age, sex, die. This we all know. We don't. Another 4. Okay. Who can give example? First one. Yeah, Rika. Give me one example. Give me one example of stuff like connect with yourself. Okay.
Separation from what is pleasant.
What are the examples? Give me example.
So I was having a really good ice cream, and it's over, or it melted. I dropped it.
That's not it.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I dropped the ice cream, and I couldn't eat anymore.
Okay. So what's there's over it. Okay. This is not another example. Then give me the second one. Okay, Mark. 단나대가 뇌병이 보다 잡았던 거라.
를 군도자 드려다. 독바다 타베 동안.
다 문제병이 뭐 토도면 또 하시잖아.
This is the example of the suffering of separation from cherished objects, right? So objects, the things that we like, and we have to be separated from them. So that's the suffering. So now second one, I mean, just next one, we're talking about like the suffering of meeting with the revolting objects or the things that we don't like.
So many
So what
examples.
can example give you?
We suffer with our friends, our families, co-workers, good weather, even the good weather. Because we don't want. Okay, yeah.
Getting something. Okay, so there was a dead rabbit in the driveway, and I put it in the trash, and I had to smell it at night until they pick it up the trash.
Now what that? That one example that.
That is,
You don't want to smile? Oh, what? You don't want to pick up.
I picked it up. It's in the trash, but
Good.
until they pick it up, it's decomposing and stinking in the trash can.
근데 독바다 타베 동안 드려다.
You don't want
독바다
to.
타베 동.
Like the smell.
He doesn't want to live with the smell, so he's forced to live with it.
Okay. Any other example? Can you give me something? Maybe they don't have to.
I'm traveling this weekend. I'm flying to France, so all the difficulties at the airport.
I hope everything go
Very
well.
unpleasant.
I hope everything go well. I hope everything's go well.
Thank you.
Example, we don't want to hit the traffic, right? Example, like this example,
We go home, it's gonna
You
thunder
don't want to
and
get a
rain.
flat tire.
right?
Driving.
Just small things,
Yeah,
just small
it's
things.
endless.
We don't want to complain for our boss, right? We don't want to, how say,
You don't want to fall down the stairs and break your leg. You don't want to break your leg, but very unpleasant. No.
Exactly. But here all things happen, right? Like Tom doesn't want to cough. We don't want to cough. But this cough, this is like, we need to, what do we need to, something to daily life to connect. Otherwise, okay, like that, we looking far away, dharma really doesn't go. Something.
That will be the suffering of sickness, right? So what's the difference in here then? Suffering of sickness, and then this is the different one. Didn't know it was
Yeah,
The
that was
accident is not sickness. Accident is
It's
unpleasant.
it's a pain.
It's a pain. It's
It's a
very
pain. Yeah, that's what
unpleasant
sickness is.
circumstance.
나와서 얘들아 나 나도 당하더라.
딱 가제 더도 딱 문대병보다 제발 watch. 문대병.
나 찍고 차서 되는데 너왜 동아리 가가샤고 말해. 동아리 개치도네.
시도도 가가 샤버로 와이나 딱그
왜?
실내 전에 가가 맞아. 시도 집어집어 용도 그러고.
So
Okay,
yeah, I mean
like
that's the suffering of sickness, right? Suffering of sickness is not like necessarily like just to be sick, but pain. So if you have a pain, that's the suffering of sickness.
가르는 늦어야지. 수수 메세다 ዣ네 빼잖아 샤바데 따따레도 따네. 되네 고아니나 딱 오네. 선선 소알레는 셰 파게데 임바레. 네데 임바레. 개왕 한마지 임바레. 달 로징 압제 임바레. 되는 가서 배도 말해.
So this is small things like that, that we can relate with our life, day-to-day life. So something that we live like that. So if you can relate in that way, then you will have better understanding about it. And otherwise, if you think about something like, oh, in the future life or like many lifetimes after, like that, then we will not, connect with that. So it will not be of much benefit to us. Like, we don't want to hear, bad things about ourselves, right? People talking bad things about us. Do we want to hear that? We don't want to, right? So that's kind of things, right? So whether it's about personal about oneself or or in general about the whole world, we don't want to hear the bad things, right?
Okay, then what? Third one. Which one? Third one.
See, so we had being separated from the pleasant, getting what you don't want, and not getting what you want. Okay. Yeah,
So
frustrated
the
desire.
suffering of not finding the desired object.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, therefore, check on to Kadena Ganzo Karo. That just wants to be told Chumude.
So the desired object, so the desired object, we look for the desired object, but we couldn't find that. So that's a suffering also.
And a problem then? She has a problem. 나도 사지 고마 but 셴방가도 셔 나도 저래 내주 사지고 셈 나도 저래 깨가 되와도다 나도 좀 토걸래금도.
So like you want to find the realization, right? You want to find the realization of renunciation, bodhicitta, emptiness, or even Buddhahood, right? But you are not able to find it. So is that a suffering?
예? 나도 맨날 동화도 잔데 뭐야. 동화도 대화도 되는 게 가디나 동화냐 와치고도.
So even though we want to have happiness, but we always end up getting suffering, right? So suffering is always overpowering and over the happiness.
어째 다 가지 제대지. 제나다 담아대다 사치 녀와는지 풍부대다 동화 님의 동화지 때 다들 동화지 가로 종고 마음의 동화 가로 다 뒤서면 지셔야까지.
And then the fourth one is the suffering the suffering of the five aggregates, right? So five aggregates, having the five aggregates, the contaminated aggregate itself, is a suffering because it's the basis of all the sufferings that we experience, and the basis, for the suffering that we experienced in the past, the basis for the suffering that we are experiencing at the present, and the basis for experiencing the suffering in the future.
제가 든디기 동화 타면 중콩이 코바서 가와나 타 리모 말에 타 요청냠도 해서 말.
And so this basis of all the sufferings that we go through or we experience, is not very far away from us, it's within ourselves. So those are the five contaminated aggregates.
어쨌다 되게까지 아니 동화 제삼바 동화 죽삼바 동화 숨삼바도 차상 가지 재원 전기랑 막 시험보다.
And so all these kind of the sufferings, like explained in the medium scopes path, are the 8 sufferings, the 6 sufferings, and 3 sufferings, and so forth.
다니 된다 가래 던다 가래거든나. 근데 소소 강 여와되게 초고 되게도 말씀하지네. 될 된다 채워야 들어가야 아니 된다면 better 나왔어.
Candice?
다 소소 강 여와된 되게도 소소 냠내 같이 된 되게도 되게 요초다 말씀하지 가지 단단하고 된다 채워 들고 고가면서 되게 돌아 마다마스.
And so don't be satisfied, with the practice that you're doing or the study you're doing. So what I'm doing is good enough, and I don't do more. Don't think like that. Don't be content, with the practice or the study that you're doing now, and always look for more, and try to do more, by using or by taking the opportunity of having this profitable maneuvers.
다 저렇게 두셔를 다 되나가 다 내가 주셔는 내밤에 비냐 봐서 됐다. 내 고대오면나 가지. 다 지나라 내가 대화에 때 때모셔요 말이지. 저는 조보토모면 대화 때모셔요 말이지.
And then so then the verse 66 talks about the suffering of the uncertainty. So uncertainty, suffering of the uncertainty. So you can't be certain of the friends or enemies or anybody, you can't be certain of your friend, to be friend all the time.
Is it?
So can you read that verse 66?
Your father becomes your son, your mother becomes your wife, people who are your enemies become your friends, and the reverse is proved as well. Therefore, in samsara there is no certainty.
Okay, Mr. Mark, what do you think?
Well, that's impermanence.
Do you believe that?
Of course, yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Your father become your son, your mother become your wife.
In a manner of speaking, yes.
How you explain it? Yeah.
It makes perfect sense because
Yeah, how do you explain it?
because you have there's reincarnation, there's infinite past lives. So people you come into contact in this life, you had a strong connection with them in the past. Who knows when it was? So that's why you're encountering them now. So depending on how that connection worked, it's manifesting itself as like your son, your wife, whatever. I think it makes total sense.
I mean, even if you don't believe in reincarnation, right? You can see that, people act more like a father than your real father, or vice versa. You know what I mean?
Do you heard that people they can remember the previous life?
Yeah, there's documentaries about it. Yeah.
True, or is it just fake?
I think it's true.
It's true, right?
Because I read one of the studies, and they did a really good job of collecting information, very
Yeah.
scientific.
It's been tested.
Yeah, scientifically, scientifically people prove like that. Buddhism, of course, we believe past, future. There are a lot also, what is reasons, also make sense, a lot of logics, but this is making also the religion part. But scientifically, I heard once sometimes some child has 4 parents. Have you heard anything here?
Yeah. They had their parents of this life, but they remembered their parents from the
Exactly.
previous.
Have you really heard that? Just heard of some story, or you really heard that?
Like I said, there've been documentaries about it where it's been tested.
But you think it's true?
It's usually with kids,
Kids,
Yeah,
the kids, we are
closer.
getting what we forgot.
Yeah, they're closer.
Yeah, this is the Buddhism that we believe that. Like this things too also like Tangan so that is big in Japan or what. And you poke like Pama Sheo with the Whereas.
So this is the support, for the logic, about the past lives parents and the present lives parents like that, right? So some kids, they say they have 4 parents like that.
Yes.
There's other examples. I mean, you could think about it like historical people, like, I've always thought like Mozart, he's 3 years old and he wrote like very complicated compositions of music. Where Mozart, it wouldn't have been possible for a 3-year-old to do this, intellectually, cognitively, or whatever. So where did it come from? A past life experience, contact with music.
제가 다 니나 그러나 다처럼 다리에서 그뒤는 곧 다처럼 스마일 말해. 거기 맞이 도보자. 그래서 다 소소가 니에서 이제 했지만 대니 맞이 다자로 그래서 다 땡아도 요이 말어. 다내 눈이 동갑쟁이 하는 데 시작해 주더래다.
Yes, so those prove that there is some kind of link from the previous life, because you can't possibly do those kind of amazing things, like by such a young age, kids, right? Anyway, so here we're talking about the suffering of the uncertainty, like can't be certain with with the friends and enemies like that, so we can't be certain that our friend will remain friend all the time, or our enemy will remain enemy all the time like that.
This we see all the time, right? Best friend become most enemy, right? Very most enemy become very best friend. This is we can see things. Is it?
In politics, you see it one country, one time you're an ally, the next minute you're
All the time.
This is all the time. Therefore, this is very important for us to really understand this true nature, samsaras, activity. Do you know that the story? Shariputra.
Yeah.
Okay, who can talk this story? Okay, it's Jennifer.
I'm not sure I can remember all the details, but
Then you don't remember. Who remember?
What story? There's a lot of stories.
Oh, is this the one where he's eating the fish?
Yeah.
but yeah, but
Oh,
all the
and then he
details about
sees
the
that
enemy
the
and
mother.
Yeah, the mother, the child on the lap was
And the
something. Yeah,
dog
I
and the
know
fish.
how it changes. The roles reversed and changed. But the exact story. I don't
You
know.
know it's correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Rika, are you remember that?
I remember.
Okay, go ahead.
So Shariputra tells about the story of a family, parents, husband, wife, and a kid. And actually the family and another family used to be enemies. And the family in the back of the house has a pond with fish. The father before loved to eat fish. So he always eat fish. And then when the family fight, the father died, later on rebirth as a fish. The mother has very strong attachment to the house. So later when the mother died, she became a dog. She came back as a dog to the house, but then she looked after the house all the time. She's very attached to the house. So when Shariputra was passing by and he looked in and he said, he saw the son eating a very big fish, and that fish was the rebirth of the father. And then the dog was begging for food, and the son kicked, or whoever kicked the dog, say, go away. And so Shariputra said, the son is eating the father's flesh and kicking the mother. And then the enemy has come back as the baby. So they're holding the baby in the lap and like, wow, really loving the baby. And actually the baby was in the lap. I think that was it, the baby.
Yeah, that's good. Because the baby is his enemy.
Yeah.
His enemy is he's very touchy his wife.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Therefore, his enemy died, rebirth his wife because he has very strong attachment with his wife. Is it? There's a long story. This is just oh, you saw that. Yeah. Was it Jeda too?
Pala session mala joke. Rangi do bond the joke. And Koyachola Gemotos.
Oh, Koyachola Gemotos. What the shall I put on?
So there's like and of course it's the whole story that like Margaret explained, which is very good, well explained. But like in Tibetan we have this just a verse, so it's like kill the father and beat the mother and hold the enemy with the deer in the lap and looking at this in a samsara situation, I feel like laughing. So that's like Shariputra said that. And so yeah, that's the gist of the story. But then the detail is just like what Margaret explained.
Yeah, it's like that. Okay.
So this is similar to that, yeah, where it talks about here. The father becomes your son, your mother becomes your wife, and so forth. And you said so people who are your enemies become your friends, and vice versa, right? So enemies can become friends like that, or friends become enemies.
The most common example, is a marriage that ends in divorce. I mean, it happens.
Exactly.
At one point, you would have, you would have died for that person. The person you love so much, and then
you are killed.
This is like the small conditions like those things happen. Therefore, this is the things like we think, oh, this is Buddhism experience. Then, oh, this is a religious person, but this is the reality experience like that. Okay? That is that. Mumbai base tene yushida. Kadra tembo yumare da nye pardon tembo na tena chira magang chena tela kurusha masa teo nyuma chira popo chalu res. Da chira gau chena tela chira nyew ma nyuma chira da chalu res.
Yeah, so this is talking about the suffering of uncertainty. So you can't be certain with with the enemy, or can't be certain with the friend. So he says, oh, we say like, this is my friend, and then we cherish and we are so attached to that person. And then it says like, oh, you should not be very attached or very cherishing to that person, because that person, your friend, can become your enemy. And then we say, oh, this is my enemy and I hate him and I want to do this bad, that bad, and so forth, to that person. But he's saying that, oh, you shouldn't be hating your enemy so much, because this enemy can become your friend. So there's no certainty that enemy will remain enemy and friend will remain friend all the time.
다 되는 쇼로가 주셔름된 데가 몸만 비비니 마스니 다때 가세디 제거 나는 한테 찌워 가들래요 그래서 연락이 나서.
And then verse 67 talks about the suffering of dissatisfaction. So how much how much we have experienced the pleasure of this samsara, and how many lives we have been born as, and so forth.
다때 멋지 저런 아마 전에 저런 고만 투위를 빼대 아니 다이 잠소 치고 쉬었다는 나를 가는 잠소 두개 말해 대치 도발에 나와요 그래서.
So it's saying here, right? So in the verse 67, it's just like, a person who has become your mother, right? So if you, and then how much milk you have drunk from them, if you just collect all that milk that you have drunk from one person being your mother, not only in this life, of course, then in the previous lives, so all the previous lives, how many times that person has been your mother, and during that time, how much milk you have drunk, So if you compare that, then it will be more than the great oceans could contain. It's like that.
Can you read this?
Every being has drunk more milk than the 4 great oceans could contain. More than that is still yet to be drunk in the subsequent samsaric rebirths of ordinary people.
Do you think it's possible? What do you think? Doesn't make sense, right?
Let's see the verse.
What do you think?
Yeah, by definition, it must be
Possible?
true, because if your past lives go back infinitely, then the amount of milk you would have drunk is infinite, and therefore that's greater than the quantity in the oceans. Yeah, makes sense.
답변은 고만 투위제 틀리요 그래서. What do you think?
I wouldn't have to take everything literally, but the point is, it's like a lot. That's probably sufficient to say yes, a lot.
제 던지 여자 가지 던지기 깨우면부터 네 깨워드는 못 몰래요 그래서 되는 거. 저랑 던지 아마 뭐 제대로 해서 강사 지키.
So yeah, you have had so many lives, right? So many rebirths in the past. And you have been born. Every time you're born as somebody like that, and you had a mother. So just one person has been so many times your mother.
다 쇼로가 뒤 쇼고 되거든요. 쇼가지고. 두째 랩지드 가든나. 다들 봐 숙스고 와서 숙으로 오잖아. 무슨 가서 제주 가서 이거 왜 나한다 다들.
And then it's the same thing in the verse 68. So if you were to give it a form, then how big it will it be?
Okay, read that.
Pile of
Bones from each individual's body
equals or surpasses the height of Mount Meru. There's not enough soil on earth to make enough juniper-bearing sized pellets to count those in your maternal line.
Wait then. Okay, what do you think? There are some people. Is it like unbelievable or you think it's possible of that? I have one question, okay. How many pounds food we eat since we born?
A lot.
100,000 pounds? Maybe not. How many gallons of water we have to drink every day? The scientifically, they say, you're a doctor, who is how much?
Well, I mean, it's like what?
How many gallons?
At least 2 quarts minimum.
Half gallon, is that?
Yeah.
You figure what's in the food? I bet it's a gallon. I bet we're drinking a gallon easy, right?
There's 8 glasses of water per day, so whatever.
One glass water?
Eight.
Eight.
How many gallons we drink until we die, until we don't run now?
You're living until you're 75. A lot. I don't have a calculator.
Many swimming pools.
Huh?
Many swimming pools.
Here.
When we think about that, usually we say, how can it come, right? How many pounds food we eat 1 year?
Yeah.
That thing, okay, oh yeah, it's possible. Today is that. Today, semje rede. Sulu pamaje semje rede. When the rogo the sapoja wena, takaji rijabol and hoya. Yes, I'm not rijabol call
So it's just talking about the size of the bone that we had lives in the previous lives, right? So when we die, if our bones were collected, then it will be bigger than the Mount Meru. Again, this is it's like a myth, right? So when we talk about the Mount Meru, we don't know if it's really there or not, but it's explained as very big, huge mountain, and so it says it will be bigger than that. Or maybe we can say the bigger than the whole earth.
타오잖아 오나 내 콩이 아마 제발 아마 제베 장가데 담블리가 사타마 도체나 아마 지금 이제 지르미치네 지와나 담블리 상 나고 말해서라 봐.
And then it says there is not enough soil on earth to make enough juniper berry-sized pellets to count those in your maternal line. So how many time this sentient being has been our mother. If you were to count, okay, this time, by mixing the whole soil on the earth into like a dough and then breaking it into a small pills like the size of the juniper berry. So if you were to count like that, the soil will be exhausted, but the number of the time that sentient being has been one's mother will not be counted.
How you put that?
How do you prove that?
Yeah.
This had a little different explanation, saying that the maternal line meant that, okay, how many mothers in the line? Like you have a mother, your mother had a mother, your grandmother had a mother, and go all the way back. But you're saying it's how many times someone has been our mother? Is
Yeah.
what you're,
Count my
you're how many times?
my mother, my mother, my mother, my mother, my mother, everyone.
Yeah, it makes sense. So if there's no beginning to lives, then there's no end to the number of pills you have to count.
You can prove it because the soil or whatever we're counting here, whether it's soil or berries, that's a finite
샘재 찍으려고 이게 지단 삼하려고 그랬어.
number that ends. Whereas our life
샘재 찍기 소소 마치 뭐 당가디.
소수가 안 맞대거나.
소소 마치 뭐 샘재 찍을 마더라.
샘지
소소 아마게 그 탕마가 좀 마치 버렸어. 되게 쉬워라.
소설 아마 가서 요랬어. 소설 아마 가서 요랬지 왜나.
소설 아마 가져봐.
아.
다 샘재 찍기 소속에 막 가져 재밌어.
One person, how many times your mother?
No, within the maternal line, like it's endless. There's not enough earth, to make even a pellet the size of a juniper berry to represent how many mothers going back and back and back and back in that maternal line. Your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, your great great grandmother.
one side's finite, one side's infinite. So
Okay. 근데 이제 뒤쪽은 매로 남주에 대다지나 아니 소수 맞춰가 세워 있나데. 남리 사는 당 말이지.
So you can count as one sentient being has been your mother also, or you can count how many mothers you had. Like how many mothers you had. You had one mother this life, then two mothers, like the previous life, and then the previous life, three mothers. Like that, if you keep on counting how many mothers you had, then the soil of the earth will run out when you make that into a size of the juniper berry, and count with that, the soil will run out, but the number of the time that you had a mother will not be completed.
다 딩어도 conclusion로 만도 가려야 그 마들의 마와나 마 개와들 모블라나 나는 가르쳐 그래 했어. 다니 가르쳐 그래서 왜나?
So what benefit is there to think about it and think about this or talk about this, right? So what if I had so many mothers? What will that benefit? What will that benefit by knowing about that? What benefit is there about by knowing about that?
My question. And this was open. Woman moment told na Mother's rigoto ponshana rija and tona to take not cheap dog.
So yeah, even though we have drank so much, so much milk, bigger than the 4 great oceans, or piled, all these bones, the bigger than or higher than the Mount Meru. So what? What's the point of knowing about that? So how does knowing that? How would knowing that benefit in our practices?
Okay,
Well, instead of seeing people like, as you're walking down the street, there's a stranger, I have no relationship with that person, you can actually understand that in the past there was a very close relationship, and that person, your mother, took very good care of you and enabled you to survive. So this is the first step to really developing bodhicitta for everybody.
Okay, good.
Have affection to everyone. It's very hard to do. It's very, very difficult.
Okay. Wait, if you drink a lot of milk, what purpose? Why will I talk about that?
Well, that's what I mean, that's what we emphasize many, many times, thinking of all sentient beings as your mother to generate compassion. So, shaking her head.
Well, it's not about generating compassion, it's about generating disgust with samsara. I mean, we've done it, this so many times. And we're never satisfied, and there's no certainty. And there's all these bodies that we're so attached to. It could make a pile of bones, as tall as Mount Everest, and or bigger than the Earth. And yeah, I mean, to really contemplate that, it's like, and we've never gotten out, and here's our chance. And
Okay, what do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I think this verse, that's the reason in this verse, is to realize how stuck we are in samsara, just over and over and over again, like Jennifer was saying. And though you could use the verse to help develop bodhicitta, but in this context, that's not the focus.
No, you lost. Two people come to No, it's good anyway. Okay? I think you can think about that. I think we stopped a lot of other storm coming. We have to stop on the way. Because some people can stay there, they just close the door, window, that's it. But you have to go maybe far away. These things, main things, try to a little bit more thinking, then try to there is some time so that go yaboshi yemba and me they draw time do some go in the next more machine dig young mandrachi kyo to you or yamana shanana to the mares.
So by knowing that, how many lives we had, or all these kind of different kind of lives that we had, but now that we have this profitable rebirth, we should make a good use of it. We should not waste it. In the like in the past, we have so many lives, but we never did good. So we never had a chance to do good. But now we have this life, with the all these favorable conditions. So we should make a good use of it. So this is what is the I think is to understand that, not to scare you or just impress you how much or how many lives that we had in the past.
아제 깨와 마시 근데 다들 다 미사면 드리바스 됐겠지요. 드리비게 깨와 마시 예바만 예바나 매번 예 말해.
So nowadays we talk about scientists, right? So we believe in scientists. So everybody said, so scientists they find out the facts, so therefore whatever they say is true. So generally people believe in scientists, right? But about the past and future lives, they have not been they have not been able to find the existence of the past and future lives, and also non-existence of the past and future lives either.
Good. 제가 다 텔은 남배기다 장지 옆에 대신 뭐 이거 대를 받은 통거요.
So they don't have this solid proof, to say that yes, there is the past and future lives, or they don't have a solid proof that there's to say there's no past and future lives like that. But in Buddhism, we talk about all these cases and instances, where it supports the existence of the past and future lives like that.
에 용다 대그 젠데를 들어가는 거예요. 젠데를 들어가는 거예요.
So how it happens, is in relation to the cause and effect.
젤은 년령이들 리치치 니는 또 년령이라고 하네요.
So the cause, that's like we usually talk about the cause and condition, right? The cause is the real, the thing, the substantial cause, and the auxiliary cause we talk about. So it is mainly the substantial cause that comes, or turns into the result.
Okay, now we stop. Think that okay? Thank you, everyone. I don't want you guys to also stall though. Go out in loud order then. Are you driving? Are you driving?
Yeah.
Are you driving? You're driving, right? You're driving? Okay, that's good.
Please turn to page 39 for the Thanksgiving mandala offering. Swaji Perpijichin Mitaka Bira Bijin Degen Padi Sande Shindu Mite Ulaji Roku Namdajin Lansher Pasho Jetsun Mame Kutse Raptinchin Namka Trile Chojun Gepadan Losan Tempe Drome Sasungi Drome Munsel Takin Lekyurchi Idam Guru Ratmangala Kalpiya Tarayani. Do short prayers then, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so page 43. In that snow mountain and Sherpa blast, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings who extensively clarifies the path that unifies emptiness compassion, to the Lord's hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, beseech may all your hopes be fulfilled. Page 49. You who uphold the Suzura's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Ranjuna's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior, myself, and others, your disciples, please return swiftly. Page 57. Through this virtue, may I swiftly, having gained Kurukulla state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may where born arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Thank you very much, Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you,
Thanks, Geshe.
Damshala.
Night. Take care.
Night.